Hey there, it's Stephanie Shea, Chief Astrologer for janspiller.com. And this is your June astrological overview. I've got great news. We're going to clear the shadow phase of that last Mercury retrograde cycle on June the 1st. So this really is a great month to get some new projects going. We're going to have a high energy as the month starts because there's a full moon, June the 3rd at 13 degrees of Sagittarius. If you were born on or around June the 3rd, then this is kind of a special birthday year for you. Usually when the full moon falls on your birthday, it can indicate being highlighted in the, in the spotlight, recognized in some way in the coming year. And let's say you're a 13-degree Sagittarius born on or around December the 6th. This full moon can signify something really significant coming to fruition in your life that you've been working on for a long time. For everybody, these full moons are important to mark our progress. If you use the lunar cycles, hopefully you have read Jan Spiller's New Moon Astrology book. You know that the new moons are the times to plant the seeds, set your intentions. The full moon can be times where you see some progress or results depending on the goal. Not all goals can be resolved and finished in one moon cycle. However, you might get to see where you have made the progress, what needs to be done, what needs to be adjusted. Full moons have that illuminating quality. So we get all that as the month starts. To me, this is very useful to really get us on the right track. Now, what's going to be going on with Mercury now that it is direct is that it's in the sign of Taurus. It's really encouraging deliberate planning and thoughtful communications. And so I feel like if we have something new to get going, the first days of the month between the 1st and the 10th are really the best time to get that solid foundation that we need while Mercury is in Taurus. On the 11th, Mercury is going to enter Gemini, and I think the pace is going to quicken. That's not a bad thing. We may have to adapt to some changing circumstances. It's going to be a fantastic time for networking, but it would be great if we already had some solid plans in place before Mercury enters Gemini, because there can be a bit of a distracting energy, and then it'll be great to refer back to the plan, right? So that's going to be in Gemini, Mercury from June 11th to June 26th. On the 26th, Mercury moves into Cancer, and we might feel a shift in our focus from logistical matters to more emotional concerns. Things might really be moving along, but if something doesn't feel right, we'll be called to stop what we're doing and make some necessary adjustments. The end of the month will probably also be a good time to connect with family members and just tune in to how we've been feeling. There's been a lot of doing energy throughout the month of June. By the time we get to the end of the month, I think we'll all need a little bit of a check-in about how we're feeling about all this that's been happening. We've got Venus in Leo as of June the 5th, and that's going to also add, like I'm saying, to this high energy that we're experiencing. Leo is quite an active sign, fiery. And when Venus is in Leo, we're really encouraged to pursue our heart's desire. Venus rules the things that bring us joy and pleasure. And Leo is right on board with that, right? And so we're probably shifting our attention. During the days Venus was in Cancer, it could have been more us focusing on others and how we can take care of our loved ones. Starting June 5th, we might want to indulge in our own favorite pleasures. It's a really good month to increase confidence by treating ourselves to something like a new piece of clothing or a haircut. Even the most shy of us in the zodiac sign, I think, are going to feel a little bit more daring under Venus in Leo, and it'd be time to step out with a little bit of a new look. Venus is going to stay in Leo until October 8th. This is longer than usual because we're going to have a Venus retrograde cycle next month. So here's a little bit of a heads up, nothing to panic about. But on June 20th, we do enter the shadow phase of this Venus retrograde. So I would try to get more things in place before the 20th if you can. For example, singles looking to make a new connection, June 1st through 19th are the most powerful days this month. However, you're still going to be supported to date during the shadow period and the whole Venus retrograde for that matter, as long as you're taking things slowly and not really worrying too much about the future. Venus retrograde wants us to stay very present in the moment and deal with the past, but it's not a future minded type of astrology. So not just for romantic connections, but anyone making agreements with others, try to get that done during the 1st through the 19th. And the same applies for financial decisions. After Venus stations retrograde next month on July 22nd, it's going to be more difficult to see relationships or money matters clearly. So if you get things kind of where you want them for now, right? You can think, okay, what looks like a good plan for the next few months, so that when you go into the Venus retrograde, you're just sort of following the plan, knowing it could be adjusted again after we come out of that. And we will come out of Venus retrograde September 2nd, but on that date, we're still in a Mercury retrograde. So just in your mind, think after July 22nd, it's not going to be until towards the end of September when things are really starting to move forward again. But that doesn't have to stop you, especially since we have this beautiful opportunity this month to get all kinds of plans in place that we can then be carrying out during the retrograde end of summer up here in the northern hemisphere. So we've got Mars in the sign of Leo all month as well, traveling quite closely to Venus. They're not going to be exactly conjunct, but I think that does kind of amp up the energy, and especially for relationships and romance, having both Mars and Venus in Leo could be quite a passionate month. Mars expresses quite boldly in the sign of Leo. That means we're being supported to put ourselves out there and go for it, whether we're seeking new work opportunities, romance, or some avenue for creative expression. The subtle approach really isn't scheduled to be successful. You might get lost in the shuffle. We're using the power of Mars and Leo to summon our courage and act and speak from the heart and be willing to be seen. So Mars is going to be in Leo until July 9th. It's a very playful energy as well. So you can make the most of this energy, planning some recreational activities, vacations. It's a pretty cheerful vibe. I will say the thing to watch out for while Mars is in Leo is there could be a tendency for people to act with their own interests in mind without considering others. So we'll all be wise to take an extra effort to be inclusive in our actions and decision making. Just a little word to the wise on that one. Now, it is solstice month. June 21st is our solstice in the northern hemisphere, summer solstice, winter solstice in the southern hemisphere. But all over the world, this signifies the sun moving into Cancer. And really, it's signifying a shift for 3 different zodiac signs. So we're looking at the next quarter of the year, you could say. The energy of Cancer, Leo, and Virgo are all being celebrated at this solstice. So the coming months are really good to taking a break, relaxing and enjoying our lives. Even in the workplace, we're encouraged to take time to enjoy relationships with coworkers. This June solstice is ushering in this 3-month period for appreciating relationships and connecting with people on more of a personal level. And Jan Spiller wrote a lot about the solstice. If you're a subscriber to janspiller.com, then you will get these articles automatically emailed to you. And her solstice and equinox articles are very special because it's her original writing. A lot of the other astrology changes. For example, all the new moons are different. All the retrogrades change year to year. However, solstice and equinox energy remains the same, and we were able to preserve Jan's original writing. And so I do encourage you to subscribe to her website, where I'm also creating new content along with KJ Atlas, fellow astrologer over there. But it's really special when we can see, something that came from Jan's mind and heart. And I will give you a few of the tips that she offers for the solstice period in June. Be willing to set aside time to spend developing close connections with family members. These are the people who will always support you just because you are part of the tribe of that family. Follow your heart and allow yourself to have experiences that make you feel happy and loved. Go out of your way to be helpful to someone you love, perhaps by running an errand, doing a task for them, or helping them get organized in an area that is of life that's difficult for them. So you can kind of see how that weaves together the themes of Cancer, Leo, and Virgo. And that's just a little bit of what she wrote. She also gives you some other insights and tips for this time period. We've got the new moon this month, and it's on June 18th. It is going to be in the sign of Gemini, and it's 26 degrees. And so if you think of themes that Gemini is related to, you can think of writing, speaking, any of the mental skills, learning. But it also, Gemini has to do with tact and acceptance. Gemini also rules conversation, communication, wittiness, I would put in there with it, as well as automobiles and transportation. So that's quite a wide range of topics that Gemini includes. And so say you're writing your new moon intentions and it's a Gemini new moon, you could even have, this is out of Jan's New Moon Astrology, a sample wish: I want to attract, recognize, and purchase the right car for me at a price I can easily afford. That is very supported under Gemini New Moon. Maybe you want to have better communications. I want to easily find myself constructively communicating in ways that blank, my brother, roommate, whoever can clearly hear and accept. So think along those lines. You can obviously set your new moon intentions for anything that you want that feels like an important priority in your life. But it is kind of interesting to sync it up with the particular astrology of the new moon. If you have a few topics that relate and that new moon offers support, that's a great way to work with those moon cycles. So I hope you can make the most of June's astrology. It's going to be one of the more, I think, fun, exciting months of the year, and we should be able to also get a lot accomplished. And I'll see you here next time with your astrological overview.